Patch 0.10 rundown. This is a patch that's going to release tomorrow on the 14th. So let's see what it has in store. Some lore stuff. I'm not going to read it. So it's going to be on the 14th. Oh my god. I needed to make a... someone make a highlight video of all my Odium clips, please. Okay. Anyways, there's going to be a new ranking system in place. There's going to be team rating. So now you're going to have a bunch of... you're going to have a solo queue rating as well as like a 2s rating and a 3s rating. And it's based on your team. So you make a team with your friends and 2s. And you'll have a rate. You'll do your placement games, and you'll have like a specific rating for that team. Okay, and then you have another friend. You make another team with that friend. You'll do your placements games with him, and you'll have a different rating. So you could be like, plat with one friend and bronze with someone else. That way you won't feel bad about playing with your like lower tier friends or whatever like that, right? And there's also like a solo queue. Yep. So it's not called ranked anymore. It's called league. I don't know how I feel about that. Grades have been replaced by leagues and divisions. Each league represents players of a certain span or skill. So you have your placement. Yeah. Bronze. 10. Who's going to be in bronze 10? That's the real question. If you hit bronze 10, you have so many divisions to climb. Feels bad, man. 9 in silver. Yeah, that looks cool. Gold league, you have 8. Plat, 7. Diamond 6. Champion 5. Who else thinks that platinum looks the coolest? Like, I feel like diamond needs to look a little bit cooler. Champion is alright. That plat looks cool, though. And then grand champion. I don't know what the distribution is going to be like or how hard it's going to be grand champion, but they said there's going to be a season. Oh, wait. Let me just read this stuff. Okay, blah, 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 blah. They changed how rating will be calculated at some points. There's going to be a season. If you're in the Grand Champion League, then you'll get an exclusive mount for the next season. It says for the duration of the following season, so is it only for the next season? Feels bad, man. Something to note is that you cannot demote. I'm guessing you cannot demote from like Diamond 5 to Platinum, or Diamond 5 to Champion 5 to like Diamond League 1. You could probably demote from like Champion 1 to, you can demote within the divisions, but not between leagues. So I don't know how I feel about that. Isn't it like Overwatch where in the higher leagues you can demote? So I feel like these lower leagues, like not being able to demote maybe is fine, but once you get up to the higher leagues, you should be able to demote out. So okay. It's gonna be a soft reset on season 2. Some things to note is that if you play someone that's in a higher league, then you're not going to lose rating if you lose. So if you're a gold player and you're playing against a diamond player, then you're not going to lose. But if you beat them, then you're going to gain bonus winnings. So hopefully this is enough progression for players. I mean, there's definitely a lot of point breakdowns. So this whole like, progression within like a game session or what else is there? You're not demoted in leagues. There's a lot of casual mechanics for the ladder. Hopefully, people will be satisfied. If you place with someone in placement, you won't lose any rating. That's fine. If you leave the game, you will get a rating penalty. So you punish for leaving now. Good. And if someone leaves or disconnects, you don't get punished. Also good. Winter cosmetics. What is this hat though? The hat. Okay. Maybe it looks better in game. So there's Fosion chest, pay to win, new support champion. I go over his kit. This is, yeah, I guess I should. Let me just go over it fast. So his M1 is kind of just think about does 8 damage on enemy hit. He heals 8 hit on ally hit. Inflicts Moth. Moth is like a healing over time or damage over time debuff. So think of it as like a Paloma M1. But like healing mechanics different. Bloodsucker M2 is like a long-ranged kind of like nuke. So if you hit an enemy, you do like 30 damage. If you hit an ally, it heals for 30. So it can also be like a long-range nuke, but that also has this mechanic where it'll hurt you for 15 damage. So you kind of have to be wary of it because you're getting into, let's say you're like low on health, or you have health that is going to get into your max HP, and then you like right click your team, you could be hitting your max HP, so you kind of just got to balance that out. And says a queen hit by bloodsucker is instantly killed. This is just something to keep in mind for like a later spell. Space, you lunge at enemy, infest them, heals allies for 8, and self. Infested enemies take 25 more damage, and infested allies absorb 75% damage. So your space can be used offensively. You can basically be inside of your enemy, so you obviously can't take damage. So for 2 seconds, you're not casting these spells, but you're just hiding inside somebody, either ally or enemy. So let's say your teammate's going to take a huge burst, you can go jump inside them, and they'll take 75% less damage, right? Or if an enemy's about to get bursted, you could jump inside them for 25. But you have to weigh that out. You have to weigh like getting these benefits with sacrificing your mobility, right? That's your escape. So sometimes it'll be risky to run or do that. So it's an interesting skill, that's for sure. Queen, you summon a queen that heals nearby allies for 16 health, additional health over 5 seconds. The queen explodes after duration, dealing 24 damage to nearby enemies. This effect does not occur if the queen is killed by enemies. So drops a AoE on the field, and if your allies are in it, it'll heal them for 16. Then it has a heal over time as well. And then when it explodes, it does damage if there's any enemies in it. And you can explode it yourself early with Bloodsucker with your M2, right? It says a queen hit by Bloodsucker is instantly killed. So it's a super interesting mechanic. Super interesting. Because you have to weigh, like, you drop it down, it heals 16. Now you try to keep it alive and get that extra 18 additional health over 5 seconds to nearby allies, meaning it's AoE, right? It's not just one person. So in threes, if you drop this down and you want to keep it alive so your allies can sit in it and get health. But the enemy team can kill it itself and not do any damage and negate that heal. So it's a pretty important cooldown, and it has it'll have a lot of different uses, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, and then you can obviously blow it up yourself, negating the 18 damage over time, but you know, still getting that 24 damage if the enemy is mispositioned. If you throw a spider egg that breaks on impact, this is the E, it'll inflict a 1.5 second panic on all nearby enemies. So it's like a AoE, it's like an AoE ability that's like a 1.5 second panic, which is interesting if you look at the Battlerite choices. The R is a shield, forms up to 24 damage and spreads moth to nearby enemies if absorbed by damage. So you get 24 shield, and if it breaks, it spreads moth, which is this healing over time, damage over time debuff. It doesn't tell you here, but you'll see in the game. And then the F, you summon 3 scarabs, and pretty sure you stand still, and then when you shoot them out, it does 24 damage if you hit an enemy and 24 if you hit an ally. So you have a decision there to make. And then you also get like either a healing over time or damage. So if you just like think about like the overall kit, it's like he has these decisions to make where he either has to um, deal damage or heal health, right? He can blow up stuff and deal the damage, but he sacrifices the healing potential. So, you know, there's always going to be this reading the battlefield and see what you need the most with him, which is really interesting. So he has the XM2, which is M2 again, is his Bloodsucker. As a cone attack, deals 8 damage, inflicts Moth, and a 1.5-second root. So this Moth mechanic is going to be pretty important. It's like how if you can get Moth on like multiple enemies or multiple allies, like I don't know how strong the healing is, but it'll be interesting to see what type of sustain it gives you, I guess. But XM2 is another way to do it. It's also a peel mechanic that does a 1.5-second root. The Brain Bug throws a brain off its enemy, allowing you to control its movement, just like a mind control. Okay. Oh my god, there's so much stuff, man. So much stuff. Round 1, landing Bloodsucker on a target affected by Moth causes it to spread nearby enemies. So this is again the Moth mechanic. So this is effect on your M2, which is the long range nuke that does 30 damage and 15 to yourself. Again, I don't know how effective that healing over time or damage over time it is, but it seems like a lot of his playstyle could be how he spreads the Moth and how effective that is. Allows you to infest an additional target. This is your space. So when you infest in someone, you're immaterial and you have that bonus. So you would take this for more mobility or more spacing. But also you're just like you're not casting spells in there as well. So it's like we'll see how it goes. Queen inflicts panic on when it explodes. So when it explodes right now, it does 24 damage, right? So this will also with 24 damage and a panic if you get this one. Round 2, Infest reduces damage and healing output of enemy by 15%, increases. So this just buffs your space thing again. So like Scourge and then Spores would be strong, right? Synergy. Egg Carrier causes another impact. So this is your E, your AoE panic. It'll do like another bounce. This is gonna be really interesting. I don't know how viable it is, but it'll be fun. Excuse me. The Queen is invulnerable for 1.5 seconds and heals new allies for 12 health the first time it blocks damage. So this just like buffs your Queen, right? It already does like 16 health additionally, then 18 health over time. So then if somebody hits it, it's 12 more health. So the Queen is just like a huge health burst, basically, right? Seems really good. Round 3, disperse, heal, releasing an infested enemy pushes back in the opposite direction. So when you space into an enemy, and then when you come out of them, it pushes them the opposite way. So it's kind of like a just another mobility kite pushback, get away from me type spell. Hive Mind, you recast Queen to command to fly towards the target location, so you can move your big AOE heal / damage. So I could see you moving it right before it's about to explode onto like a CC target or something like that. So that'd be kind of crazy. I think this just has like so many different plays that you can do with moving it, which is crazy. Bloodsucker consumes Moth, dealing 6 damage to enemy, healing 6 bonus damage to ally, and healing self for 6. It's so weird because I play the game, but I guess I don't understand like how much healing is 6. Like Lucy has like a healing over time on her M2 that's like 8. Isn't it like 8 health per second or something or whatever it is? And it's like I don't know actually how valuable that is. So seeing like these 6 healing self for 6 I'm not sure. I'll have to play it. I'm gonna play this guy a lot to figure him out, but um, Insectivore is just another way to interact with your Moth debuff, um, just to buff it up. Round 4 Blight, the Queen slows nearby enemies' movement speed. This is buffing your Queen again. So you could do like this one plus this one plus this one. You know, you have a way to buff your Queen, like buff the Queen build, you know, or buff the space build, stuff like that. And then round 5 is just a buff to the ultimate. Each active Scarab absorbs 15% of damage taken during Scarab pack. And Scarab inflicts a fading bind that reduces enemy sight range by 90%. Blind. 90% blind? Bad, man. In our never-ending quest... Oh, wait. So. Pestilus. He looks cool, man. All the new characters and their animations look awesome, by the way. This guy's no exception. No exception. Esmo several nifty tools. Most of them have been overshadowed by a signature move, Chaos Grip. Aha. So the one problem with Esmo right now is that his kit is all about hitting his M2. All his power is in hitting his M2. So they see that and they're trying ways to shift some of the power to other abilities. I like the thought. Chaos Grab, knockback, pushback, location, slight tweak. Enemies now end up slightly further away when hit. Okay, so that makes it harder to M1. Okay. Min damage increased from 6 to 10 and max damage reduced from 22 to 20. So you always do 10 damage. And if you max it out, 20. Okay. So that makes it so there's less value in hitting full charge M2s. Okay. Esmo's Chaos Grip shows a range indicator effect to all players. This is a nerf to Esmo because now you know where to stay, where you need to be, I guess, right? Because it's the one thing about Esmo right now is like he can hit you from across the screen where you can't see him. All of a sudden you're just getting pulled across the screen, stunned, like half your life is gone. So that's like a nerf basically, because you'll be able to see the range indicator. Arcane Baron on instant reloads all ammo triggered if below 5 charges. Okay. Honestly, I don't play Esmo a lot, so I'm not sure what these changes are going to do to him. If you guys want to, like the best Esmo player that's a streamer is Jolts. He plays it, so I think he streams more in the mornings. So I'd catch him out if you want to know like a pro player's thoughts on Esmo. But we can just go over it. So Chaos Grip silences target for half a second to 1 second depending on charge up. So it's no longer a stun, which is good, right? The problem with Esmo is that if you got hit by his M2, you're getting your max HP hit instantly, right? Because you get stunned, you get pulled, and then you get 5 charges, and that's getting into your max HP. So what you had to do was just not get hit by his M2. So now you can get hit by it, and at least you can move out of the way, maybe? So I'll have to see. So maybe like the silence plus the increased knockback as M2 makes it so that you're not guaranteed to take full damage. Arcane Barrier can be recasted for 5 weapon charges to fire a projectile that deals 10 damage and heals you for 20. So this is like you're sacrificing your M1 damage to do shit damage plus heal. So it's like survivability. Okay. You gain 1 bonus charge after using Displace and Arcane Fire attack speed increases. Ooh, by 30%? Ugh. It's like, is this nerfed enough with the knockback that he can like take this now? I have no idea. I'm not sure. But seems like these two are going to be the more viable ones. Jackal reduces target damage and healing out by 50%. Using Displace grants 6 fading haste. Chaos Grip ranged. Displace grants 6 fading haste. I don't think he needs this, right? maybe this. Probably still gonna be the range, man. His M2 is still strong, so it just depends on the effect that the silence and the knockback has. Round 3, landing 5% inflicts a 2-second snare. This is M1, so if you land 5 M1s, you get a 2-second snare. That's really annoying to deal with. Arcane Barrier grants double amount of charges, and you're healed for 4 health for each gained charge. After landing a shackle, your arcane gains. It looks like you could like go like a healing build. Like the problem with Esmo right now is like after he uses his spaces, like he's done for. Like you can just focus him. So it's like if he spaces, he uses his spaces. Would this talent worth the 20 health heal and this talent, would that be enough to save him from people focusing him? Like, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Arcane Barrier increases your movement speed by 50%. Max energy increased by 25. Arcane Fire, that's probably still really good. It deals 2 bonus damage. Okay. Whatever. Honestly, I don't play enough Esmo to know. So, it's like it on the surface it looks like there's a different build you can go other than going straight M2, right? Like before it was like M2 stun, M2 range, and then these other ones. So who cared, right? Because you already got the M2 ones. This one on the surface, it looks like you could try to mitigate his space weakness with the healing, or, you know, making his shield stronger. But Arcane Barrier is already worse if Iva becomes, if more people play Iva, right? Because there's more dispels in the game now. So that's a different story, though. Anyways. Going on, Iva. Iva's lately become a bit overshadowed by some of the new ranged champions. With these changes, we wanted to give Granny a more defined role in the arena, and with that came some new tools and Battlerites that should allow more exciting plays. Nice. The M2 rock radius increased from 0.3 to 0.35. Okay. Minimum travel distance has been slightly reduced. Buff. Haste bonus reduced from 50% to 30%. Nerf. Taser now dispels all positive effects from an enemy hit. Buff. Huge buff, right? Especially against Lucy. Kappa. Wait, no Kappa. It is, because you can dispel Lucy's shield now, right? Can no longer be canceled by Flamethrower. Nerf. Dirty Iva players abusing this. Oil slow reduced from 30% nerf, duration reduced to 3.5 nerf. Okay. So they nerfed some core stuff, gave her offensive dispel, and did some quality of life stuff. Okay, whatever. If you want, I don't play a lot of Iva, but I know this one guy named Nye who plays a lot of Iva. He really likes the changes. Really likes them. All right, so round 1, U-turn after using a jetpack, you can reactivate to fly back, whatever. That's the same. Taser bounces toward an additional enemy. Okay. Change place with blast shield stockpile. Oh, it just changed it to gain 2 ability charges. So does the taser bounce dispel positive effects? Maybe. That would be good, right? Otherwise, you get the ability charge. I think people before were getting the U-turn because the other options weren't good. But is rocket 2 rocket charges good enough to replace U-turn? Not an Iva player. Not an Iva player. Can't tell you. So heavy rocket hits, deals 4 damage, inflicts a 1-second fading snare. Okay, whatever. Your next boom soak after using jetpack inflicts oil. This one seems good, doesn't it? Other ways to inflict oil other than your space is always going to be good, right? Right. So I could see you spacing in, boom sticking, and then flamethrowering the word. So it's good versus counters and stuff like that. Flamethrower does a lot of damage. Zap knocks enemies back and further increases movement speed by 30%. So change place with stock. So you're basically picking between these two. Zap increases your boom step attack speed. This one was always good. Hyper speed. Jetpack increases move speed by 65%. This one is also good. Tractor beam stuns on beat for 1 second on the effects end. Can I have I been able to dodge tractor beam before? I think this kind of like comes out pretty fast. For a 1 second stun and the reduction, I don't know if it's worth it. Especially because it's on this tier, right? Like, these two weren't on the same tier before. So you could have the attack speed and like the movement speed buff with your like zap buff. So after you like space, you could just movement speed, get the fuck out of there. But now you have to kind of decide: do you want like the damage, or do you want to run fast after space? So I don't think this is can be good enough. Maybe. But I think these two are going to be better. Round 4, you have Zap. Your shield absorbs 12 more damage. Okay. Extra shield boomstick ammo increased from 3 to 4. Oil further reduces move speed increased. This is where the blind used to be. Dude, get blinds out of the game, man. I hate blinds. So you're either like more protection or more damage. Like you're not there's your choices. There's the choices that you wanted. Machine gun grants a shield that absorbs 30 damage. Machine gun fires oil on all neighbors and launches. This one's cool. This one seems cool. I like that they gave more options to apply oil. The oil mechanic's pretty cool. I like it. But it seems like you're now choosing between damage and survivability. Which I don't know if I like that. Not an Iowa player, but that's the general overview. Pearl, spoiled brat. Big issue with Pearl has been her very one-sided Battlerite terms, and that is what we primarily aim to fix with this update. Okay, let's see if it did it. Volatile water, M1 knockbacks change from water on scales with distance and not always does a minor knockback. I did not know it scaled with distance. Shows how much I played Pearl. Silence duration from charge volatiles hits reduced from 1.2 to 1 second. So you have 1 second silent duration on your charged M1s. That is a nerf. I'm guessing this is like whatever. Just makes it more consistent. The power of the deep battery has been incorporated in our core kit. Dive now always recharges your staff. Dive no longer deals area damage. Okay. Nerf here. Buff here. You no longer charges your staff when triggered. That's a nerf. Okay, so that means that you no longer have to take like the charge Battlerite, which is pretty much guaranteed what you needed to take to make it so you have enough like silences to put out pressure, because a lot of problems with Pearl is she just like gets ignored and can't put out like offensive pressure. So you always had to get the space one. So it's more consistent to put it on the space, right? It's because you don't always get your Q procced, right? Especially in higher levels, it's really hard to get your counter procced. So it being baseline on the space instead, makes it a little more consistent overall. Round 1. We have diving the bubble bear, destroys a bubble and resets the cooldown and dive. This one seems like a really cool mechanic, especially now that your M1 charge is on your space. So you can M1, space into a bubble, M1 again, and then space M1. So that's 3 silences, right? At the cost of your mobility and your bubble. So, it's honestly like a trade-off. Like you have to find the right moment or the right matchup where you can actually do something like that. Um, I mean, early in the rounds you can do that as Pearl because you're not going to get punished for wasting your space. But if you do that late in the round and use your bubble and use all your spaces, you're just going to get punished like you normally do. So, but it also relieves in the later game when people have ultimates. Now it's gonna be harder to punish Pearl, right? Because before, like as Lucy, I would just wait for Pearl to space and then I would ultimate her now, right? If she has this Battlerite, um, if she spaces into a bubble, I can't actually punish her for that, right? Because it resets the charge. So if you can play around that cooldown, that space cooldown more with the bubble, um, you know, it makes her less punishing for the space. Um, but also you lose that zoning potential of the bubble, so it's a trade-off for sure. But I think a lot of, especially high people that play Pearl in the higher levels, have problems with getting punished after their space. Also, you can't jump into your lesser bubbles. Firing volatile water through a bubble bear increases travel distance by 25%, and yeah, I don't know how much 25% is. How many Timos is that? Is it like Jumong M1 or is it longer than Jumong M1? Are we going to see Jumong Pearl now with bubbles? So it's 18 damage because she has 14. So. I mean, that's interesting. I want to, it makes it interesting for sure. I don't know if you, in practice, if it's actually like viable, but just on paper, it's like, okay, I can do this to get more M1s out. And I just like the interaction with the bubble, you know, destroy your bubble, get space reset, be more mobile, get less punished through your space usage, or use your bubble as like having a super strong neutral game, right? So interesting. And then your Q, recharge your stuff. I don't know if you're gonna be getting this anymore. It depends on these play styles, if these play styles are viable. So it'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. Round 2, Ocean's Age. Bubble Bear can be recast within 5 seconds to spawn a lesser bubble. Okay. I don't know if anyone ever got that. Empowered Volatile Water deals splash damage. I don't know if the travel distance goes with lesser bubble. I'm assuming it doesn't. Empowered volatile water deals splash damage and inflicts a silence on all enemies. So this is just the AoE. I assume you get in the same situations. It's good for hitting the wall, getting the AoE, double melee, hitting the orb, hitting a melee, getting the orb. Always liked it. Dive heals self for 6 and nearby allies for 12 health when emerging from the deep. So this synergizes with, excuse me, with the Ocean Tide, right? The more dives you get, the more self-healing you get. So it just opens up another way to interact with your skills, you know. So it's interesting. I don't think you'd ever get this. So it's gonna be like, do you want the AoE for more pressure offensively? Which also synergizes with this Ocean Tide, right? Or do you want it to be more defensive, and get the healing? So that's interesting. Maybe more offensive in 2s. Maybe this makes it better in 3s. I'm not sure how much the 12 health heal Um, that's a lot or not, is it? It's not really. Not really. Round 3. Riptide. Dive deals 8 damage and inflicts a 1-second root. Okay. Anything with a dive is going to synergize well with the Ocean Tide. This is just like a nice survivability thing. It doesn't really do anything for your teammates or being a support in general. Bubble Barrier spawns a tasty fish in the center of the bubble that heals 8 health and increases damage output by 20% for 3 seconds. Really? 20% damage increase? Okay. You need coordination with this, okay? Because I know that if you're playing solo queue and you drop these little fishes on the ground, nobody's going to pick them up. Nobody's going to pick them up, so... Tidal Wave spawns a lesser bubble bear around you when triggered. This seems like a defensive round, right? Survivability round. So it's like, do a little bit of damage, click to root, heal a little bit. 8 health isn't a lot, but 20% damage increase, that's really good. But no one's going to pick it up, so it's probably not going to get Tasty Fish. And then, you know, having more bumbles is just super annoying. Round 4, Healing Wave projectile bounces nearest ally, healing them for 6 health. This used to be a first round Battlerite, so was it first round? Yeah, I think it is. So this is a nerf for Pearl and 3s for sure. You don't get to round 4, which you have a chance of not getting to round 4. Walking through a bubble increases your movement speed by 50%. Okay. Does that apply to lesser bubbles? I'm not sure. Silence duration from charge increases from 1 to 1.5. Always good. So, probably... I don't know. Depends on 2s or 3s, I feel like. Excuse me. Round 5, Jaws max speed range increased. Speed range is like, how far you can, like, spit them out, right? So, okay. You wouldn't get it for this, I don't think. You'd get it for the slow. And then this was enemy speed out Jaws that lands inside a bubble bridge destroys and take. Okay, you're definitely just getting this one, right? 33% slow for 2.5 seconds or 14 extra damage with the combo. I don't know. I don't know. What does a 33% slow feel like? I don't know. I don't know like the number correspondence to how it plays in games, I guess, which is hard when you're reading patch notes. But this seems like easier overall. So, Pearl overall, I mean, I like... Seems like round 1, which round 1 should kind of dictate how you want to play a matchup, right? Like, do you want the super neutral game? Or do you want the safe space game with like pressure through your silences, and then you can kind of compensate throughout. So before it's kind of like you just went and you got anything that empowered your charge, or you know, made you more annoying survivability wise. And it seems like there's more options now, but it's hard to say without actually you know, playing her. So we'll see tomorrow. I like it though. Taya. The wind blows Taya's way this winter. Taya's a great core kit, but has been lacking creative Battlerites. These changes should give her more strategic options when facing both ranged and melee options. I, for one, like Taya where she was. Thought she was really high risk, high reward, so we'll see how she plays out now. She's going to be high reward, low risk. We don't want that. So, Wind Bomb creates a wind stream for up to 4 seconds. Allies who enter the stream are granted haste. That's kind of neat. She can be a team player. Gale. Wind Strike spawns a gale that slows projectiles up to 2 seconds. Wind Strike spawns a scale. Wind Strike spawns a gale. What's Wind Strike? Wait, Wind Bomb's her E, right? And Wind Strike is the Q? Not sure. Okay. Extract can be used on the move during haste. You're just getting this one, right? Why would you get anything else? X strike on the move. That just sounds awesome. And what does the Gale look like? Okay, you use your Q, which does a AoE knockback around you. What does the projectile look like? Is it like an AoE circle around you that slows projectiles? Okay, that'd be pretty cool. I can see you using it to maybe get into a Jumong, or maybe it'll help in a range matchup if that's the case. Um, so, that could be interesting. I'd have to see what the animation looks like and what it actually does. And this one is interesting, you know, because we ran Taya with in this past Battlerite with it was like the AoE haste for her teammates, and it really helped versus rushdown comps. So this is another way to help with that, right? Instead of the space doing it, it's the wind bomb. So it's another way to give your allies something to run away with. So I could see this being matchup dependent, actually. Cool. Landing wind strike with haste reapplies haste. Okay, so you space Q and then you can space away. Okay. X strike intersect damage increased by 8. Raise bonus run during haste, inflict a half-second fading stare. So what they did on round 2 is they made everything just seem super nasty, and you have to choose which one you want out of these awesome choices. These are all good, man. Enemies knocked in the walls by wind strike are stunned for 1 second. This is a round 1 Battlerite, I'm pretty sure. Empowered Razor, when first hits, heals you survivability for 6 health. Terror gains haste when landing after a tornado, and cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. This one's good too. So you could go like straight haste, right? Haste, haste, haste. So much haste. Ah, feels good. I don't know what one you'd go here now. I don't think you ever got this one, right? I think it's going to be a choice between the stun and the haste on tornado, depending on what you need to use more. When haste is cast, nearby allies gain 50% haste for the last 2 seconds. So you now have this one on round 4, and this one on round 1. Okay, it was nice to have this one on round 1 before versus Rushdown, because you could have it for all the rounds, obviously. So, how viable is it to throw your wind bomb on it? And what's the this is 100% haste and this is 50% haste? I honestly don't know what the numbers look like, but you could get the wind bomb and then space, and then round 4 it's just go go go, right, for your teammates. So you could be really helpful and super kite with your whole team, like as in like a ball, like a death ball. One bomb summons a vortex that pulls enemies in, and each razor boomerang hit reduces the cooldown of haste. Okay. This one's still good. This one's, I mean, they all seem decent. Each razor boomerang hit while mounted extends the duration by half a second, and gain 4 health per razor boom hit while mounted. I don't play Taya, so I don't know exactly what the optimal pick is, but it seems like you can go like the support build where you're helping your teammates out. You can go this damage build, obviously. X strike. I'm not sure. It's overall, it's definitely a buff for Taya. Definitely a buff. It's gonna be interesting. I feel like she's gonna be really good. Okay. We've done additional smaller changes to some champions, but are taking it step by step at the moment. Since it's difficult to predict the effects above changes will have. The above changes. This I agree with completely. I think it is really hard to implement balance changes um, for the previous patch when you implement so many different changes this patch. So what I want to see is after this patch plays out for like a week, unless something comes out that's just extremely broken within the first 2 days, I would like to see um, balance changes after we see it play out. So so if something doesn't just scream OP in the first couple days, obviously I want to see it fixed if it is, but I'd like to see like weekly balance changes, or hot fixes, rather than seeing stuff just play out that's OP for so long. Um, so I think if they do smaller, more frequent balance changes, I'd be a lot more satisfied. Mm-hmm. So Baco, hitbox addition tweaked to better correspond with visuals. Is that a buff? It's got to be. Sometimes on this patch when he dashes or heroic charge, maybe it's just like PSTD from like the patch before where you could just vacuum him in, but I'd be like, oh, I'm getting hit here, and then he would just zoom on by me. So I'm guessing this better fixes that. Tooltip now correctly shows incapacitate instead of stun. Okay, that's fine. They should have given Baco something, man. He needs a little love, I think. I think he's decent, but he needs a little love. A little undertuned. Croak, you can now run through other players while in camouflage / deceit. That is a buff. You can now run through other players while in stealth for Jade. That is a buff. So for NA, whatever. There's not many high level Croak players, so I know why they did this, but I don't think they have said it publicly, so I won't say it. But sorry, EU friends. Sorry. Jumong, Secret Arrow XM1 now is an aim preview. Swell. Battlerites. Heartseeker Razor Claw removed unintentional snare on the bleed. That's a nerf. And good. Lucy nerf? No. Healing potion M2 revitalizing healing to reduce from 8 to 6. Oh shucks. Whatever. 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 Stands of time damage reduced from 12 to 10. That's whatever. Healing increase from 12 to 16 to probably reflect tooltip value. That's a buff. That's gonna feel better for her. XM1 now shows the eat icon correctly and preview rush tweak to match hitbox. Perfect. Okay, let me just. I think there needs to be more nerfs to Lucy, but I honestly want to see the patch play out a little bit first. And I think the same for. I just want to see his M1 range toned down, man. The M1 range is too much. Same with Jumong. Both those things. But they should hit Lucy a little harder. Spirit Guide Space. Yep, we already said that. Before, when I don't play a lot of Paloma, when I spaced, it was only to like swap or to get away. I didn't necessarily care about 12. Maybe that's just because I'm a bad Paloma player, but 16 makes it seem more useful to space on your teammate, which would inherently buff her battle rights for her space. I think she has one that increases her or decreases the damage taken, so that's obviously synergized as well. I really wish they would rework Rook. He has too much power in his like combo and not enough power in his other areas. He's easily kiteable, controlled. If he doesn't land his combo, it's like he's not really doing anything. But when he lands his combo, it's like unavoidable and it's not really fun to play against. So I'd like to see the power taken out of that and put somewhere else. That's the important thing. Take the power out of one thing and put it somewhere else, so at least compensate for it. Rukong, radius decrease from 0.4 to 0.35. I don't know what that looks like in game, but Shadow Bolt hitbox as it is right now is way too big. It's way too hard to avoid, so is 0.05 enough? I have no idea. I'd have to see it in game, but it's the right direction. Also, the range on it, way too long. Claw of the Undying, XE, now benefits Claw of the Wicked Battlerite. I think that's like the CD reduction, right? Or maybe it's the root. No. Why would it be the root? Not the root. Wicked Strike silence now apply off the damage has been dealt instead of before. This had to do something with like I think it works like Pearl Silence now. Like before it would silence. So think of like Shifu alt. It would silence, so it would take off the shield and then it would do damage. And now it'll do damage into the shield and then silence, or the other way around. Excuse me, I'm not sure. Serious. Sunbath heals no longer grant energy. This is like that first tier Battlerite, right? I think the energy gain on that was way too much to begin, or having energy on that gave him energy way too fast. I do think this is another thing where they need to compensate somewhere. They took away his M1R M1 combo, which is too much power in his kit, but they didn't really, balance the power out anywhere. So it's kind of like, So same thing there. Health and recovery health should now reset between rounds. Didn't know that was a bug. Fix a bug where reloading could reduce the amount of weapon charges available. Didn't know that was a bug. Fix an issue where the snare control score would attribute to the player getting dismounted. Okay, whatever. Remove line of sight checks for scrolling combat. You now need to go out of interrupt button to be able to interrupt an ability again. Okay, that's good, because I think there's some times where you would accidentally interrupt multiple abilities. Center orb kills in the current round is now displayed in the top bar. Hey, this is a huge ordeal. So many times you're like, who got the orb? And now you'll be able to tell, right? And also be able to be like, hey, we only got 3 orbs this round. We need to get more. Fix the bug where the map collision and projectile dash could mismatch between client and server. Okay. Champion select. Improve ready up feedback. New art and effects. Added loading indicator while loading champion. And now you can rotate team members and mounts. Best change. Rotating team members and mounts. This is what we all have been asking for. Game is saved. Awesome. Bunch of ODM stuff. I'm not going to go over it. I don't care. Replay editing. Don't care. Miscellaneous. New music added to the menu. Fixed a bug where replays would display another player's cursor. Increased max observers. Added new sections. Awesome. Sweet. That was my patch rundown. I am neewha for watching. I'll be playing the actual patch live and trying to gauge what these numbers actually mean. And I'll be playing a lot of Pestilus, is it? Starting tomorrow. Thanks for watching.